Well, as of just now, I got to working on uploading my last video to YouTube, and while I'm doing that, I'm currently recording this one, and there's just a few more little steps to come along when it comes to carving these cats. There is a certain line that you draw between the front two legs that goes about to the center and goes halfway up to the neck or the chin. So we get that little bit of work to come along in here and make it so it ought to be. And this time around, I say that we also have to kind of put in the little lines to sort of separate the feet down here as well. And this is a moment when we're going to take this little V gouge again and make the little cut between the front 2 feet here, the little V as it is, and that little line we put in kind of just, I say, how that's going to go. There's the place up to the center between the 2 feet at the top where we put that. We've already put those 2 lines in, and so next thing you know, we're going to take this line and we kind of make that little place between the front 2 legs there, and that is where we will sort of dig it out a little bit. I say that this is just some work. We come down along too and sort of make it so it looks away like it's supposed to be. And there's a place here. We're going to do the same thing with this other kitty here. Make another line, make it so it comes just neat like it needs to be, and say that this is where we're going to make the little line and show how kitty is going to look, how kitty is going to work. And so we sort of get a little bit of a V cut in there as well, and see how it's all going to turn out in the end, just like the way it ought to be. So as for this work, we see the kitty shall come and make its way to us. You know, I see a lot of work in this, and there's going to be a place along here where we can take the knife and make these lines come out a little further, make the V a little bigger so it's a little wider, makes up a little bit of extra space, and so we see that the cat is going to come out with a little bit better look here. And so when we come down to it, we're going to make it so it shall see a much better light in the end as for what it shall come down to. And finally get the little cut put in, and we're about to have it here. Take it so it shall make its work come to us, and probably get the gouge back in, take out that little extra piece of wood in there, and then we're going to make it so we have little places in between for the little feet that it's going to have. And finally, once we get the front made out, this is how it's going to look down the middle. There's a little time in here where we put a little face in here, little work in the feet here, try to make little lines that show for what it all is supposed to be. And perhaps we might need to take the gouge a little deeper, because sometimes you get into places that might even be too deep for just a knife. So you've got to kind of add the extra work in, put the extra work on, and come up to where you just make it out like it so ought to be. And I say this is just what it's going to look like when you get all done. Take the little, dig out the little place and make the center. So as for the next step, we're going to try to take the corners off the tails here. So there's a little way we do that by sort of taking a little corner off of one end and taking a little corner off of another to make it so we have the kitty come out just like it should. The tail is going to come out great once we get it done. And you see those little places I kind of took out right between the butt and the tail. So there's another little line we're going to carve along in here, make it so it shall shine its way into us and see a little light of day in us, and and I'd say that's what we do there. We're making it so it's coming along like it ought to be. And so we've got another little line to make along here as well. Make the little tail so it'll be just right on the corners. And we're going to take the same little steps with this other one as well. Try to make it so we can get the corners even, and I say a little work shall do us a little good here and there. Now, as for how this comes along, it can be anything, and so we got a little work here to make out the tail just like it's supposed to be, showing a little light in us, making us so we all can see the light of day of what comes out in a little carving. So we're going to come down right down to it, see what it's going to be, see what it's going to do. I say when we work into this, it's going to make it so much better. And see, we just got to shave off some little marks down in there to get where we can't get with the saw. And so I've just about gotten this evened up in here for us, make it so it's going to come out so much greater and so much better. And this is just a little thing where we're going to try to, what we're already doing almost. Now, there's the next step we take, and where we see these little lines here on the back of the tail, we are going to carve those off to make fine flat corners here and see how the work is going to be. This is how it should turn out once you get finished with that part. We're going to take it along on this other one as well. Try to get the back corners just right and flat like so, and see. Oh, this type of work shall make its way into us, and so we're going to see that we all do a little work now and then, here and there, and I say we've kind of got to make lines go a little further on. And so there's one little line we can make along here, sort of make it so we see the tail of the cat with its little points and slants. Try to get the corners broken off here, make it so it's all gonna be a little brighter and shinier, I say. Oh, can we know? Oh, what can we do? I say this is the little work we're doing in the kitty's life, and we're going to remove this stuff along here, try to make it so it's going to look as good and right as it needs to be. So that's how we get along on that, and see the work. It's going to make its way up to us, and now we're going to see what it's going to turn out to be. Good kitty. Good kitty. And now we finally got the back of the tail like we need to be on that one. We're going to work it out on this other one as well. Try to get along these lines and take off the excess wood. Tail should come out skinnier, so, and sometimes you might even need a little bit of a sharper knife to do it. Something Calvin Grant always said was, you can carve any kind of wood if you can get a sharp enough knife. So that was the story as to how that wood went. And here we go, making some other little cuts here. There's a little place here where you see the two corners at the tip of the tail underneath. We're going to carve along those as well. Try to make the extra space in there. Show what a kitty ought to look like. And say, kitty, kitty, kitty. Makes me think there used to be a scrapbooking store down the street from my house, and they had a lot of stickers in there. Kids always wanted stickers. There was a little girl in a stroller. She said, I want kitty, I want kitty. So her mom got her a piece of little kitty stickers off the wall there where they have them on a roll, and she asked her, now what do you say? And she said, thank you. Good thing people are teaching their kids manners, you know. So as for this little bit of work, you can see that I've already made the tail out on the end, and just for a little extra time and work, we're going to cut away at the little extra scrap here. Sometimes I'll tell y'all, I saw with the knife Although I really shouldn't be sawing with the knife. It's not the way you're supposed to do it, ever, but it's just my little errors sometimes. Get a little high-strung and impulsive. We're going to make the same little cut along the tip of the tail on this little kitty too, and show what it's like when it all comes out, when it all gets said and done. And we're going to see how the work is done. Oh, a little work on the kitty shell. Make it set straight. She'll make itself happy. She'll make itself weigh. Oh, and I say all the things kitties catch, like mice, fish, rats, lizards, snakes, you name it. Chipmunks prey on just about anything. Birds, little robins, little ducks, little chicks. So much you have to keep them safe from, to keep things away. And so, by you all, I can see how this little bit of work shall make its own way along to us and show us how grace comes along, how little grace goes. And see, there's a little last step we're going to take in this carving. The place that is on the top of the tip of the tail. So we got that work to come along here, and so we're going to work it along this little one as well. Draw the lines, make us see what it's going to be, make it see what it's all going to come down to. I say we're sawing this away, carving this away. And like I've always heard, you know, places they wouldn't let you carve with wood. We got a little work come on a long ways, and see kitties work in the ways they do. Sort of there's a little issue with the tail, so we had to chip off the very tips to make them even. And I'd say for the most part, we got the best of what needs to be done. All we've got to do is make a little more cuts up at the top of the tail, and we should be down to our last little steps. All these little steps it takes to make the kitty. And soon we're about to get down to the very last part that is carved, and we're going to finally make it up to the very place where the tail bends up there. So carve along those lines, make those a little more flattened out. See little kitties that work a long way, farm a long way, keep all the mice out of the barn, things like that. So we know a lot of people love them and stuff. So I'm gonna finally make these last cuts, and finally we're done with the carving part on both. So that was a pretty quick, short project there. Doesn't take long to do. You could do it all in one day if you really try, so it depends on how strong a hands you have, how much skill, how much work you have. So that was how the little kitty comes along here, and I'd like to say that we're going to end the video now. This might be the end of the series, so thank you for watching. Take care.